Hello, this is the first in a series of listening exercise training videos for bell ringers in Kent, London, and anywhere else really. What we're looking at in these videos, which are each going to be about 10 minutes long, is ways of refining and improving our ability to listen to bell ringing and to pick out errors in the ringing. So bells that are just slightly too late, slightly too early, so that when we're ringing again in the tower, we'll be able to pick out those slight errors, adjust our own ringing, pulling the bell in, holding off a little bit accordingly. These exercises, these ones to start with, are going to be on 6 bells. There's going to be 1 bell out of place in each example, and they're going to be out of place in the same way on both strokes. So at handstroke and backstroke, they might be late, or they might be early at handstroke and backstroke. A little bit too quick. Try to count as we go. So counting through in your head, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There should be a really even rhythm between each of the bells, an even gap. Our first example is about to come up. We will play the example. It's from a bell ringing simulator. Then we will look at what's wrong and talk about it a little bit. Here we go. Okay, hopefully we've picked out from that example which bell it is. We're just going to play it again and have another listen. So we've got the 5 just being a bit late on both strokes. Just there, that big gap between the 4 and the 5, which shows that the 5 was being a little bit slow. Okay, next example coming up in just a moment. This will be a different bell. Similar sort of level of out of placeness, but as we go through this video, we'll gradually reduce that as we hone our listening skills a little bit. Okay, here we go. Okay, hopefully we've picked out which bell that was. Have a little think about it. We'll listen again in a moment. We've got the 2 here being a little bit too close to the treble. Okay, so we've had 2 examples there with a bell out that's fairly significantly out of place. We're just going to reduce the amount of error a little bit this time and see how we get on with that. Okay, now that was quite hard. Just have a quick another listen in a moment. See which one you think we might have identified. It's around the area of 5, 6 kind of place, but just have a little think about that and we'll hear it again. So what we've got here is the 6 being just a little bit too close to the 5 there on both strokes. Now, sometimes, just worth noting here, sometimes the tenor ringer may well be doing that deliberately and just trying to accelerate the pace of the ringing a little bit. If you hear a tenor just pushing it along a little bit and ringing a little bit closer to the 5th or the 7th than you'd expect, it might be that they're trying to speed up the ringing. Equally, if they're holding off a little bit, they might be thinking we're going a bit too fast here and trying to just steady it up a little bit. Okay, let's have another one. Again, just reducing that gap a little bit as we get more and more in tune with this. Here we go. Okay, have a think about that one. And we'll listen again. gap there between 3 and 4, where the 4 is holding off a little bit. There's a gap there. So it's the 4 slow at both strokes in that example. So we've had a few different bells here that have been out of place in various different ways. We will keep going with this and see how we get on with an even smaller level of out of placeness with one of the bells here. In general, I think it's those examples so far, it's seemed a bit easier to pick out the bells that are late and the gaps than it has to pick out the bells that are early. Let's have a listen to this one. Have a think about that one, and then we'll listen again. It's just the 5 being a little bit close to both strokes. Dum, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Now we're going to go for a really increasingly small gap, and we'll see how we get on with this one. It's going to be a bit harder, but don't worry if you're not sure. Okay, we might be picking up sort of 2, 3, 4, but not entirely sure. We'll have another listen and see what we think. Okay, so we're probably thinking, or might have picked up that that's the 3, and it's the 3 being late both strokes. One more listen. Okay, I'm going to carry on with increasingly small gaps and see how we get on with this next one. Now, I'm sure you're thinking it's starting to get quite tricky, because actually that sounded, fairly acceptable, really. We may be picking out that it seems to be around 1, 2, and 3. Let's have another listen. What we've got here is the 2 just being ever so slightly close to the treble. But it sounds pretty decent. Let's just have one more listen. Just that little bit too close, tiny bit too close to the treble. Okay. I'm going to do one more quite hard one of a similar sort of level of difficulty and see how we get on with it. Almost barely perceptible, this particular one, but it's just listen out for the tenor. Once you hear it, tenor's just ever so slightly slow, just a tiny bit slow. These have got harder as we've gone through. Just that little bit slow. So, that's our sort of first stage of listening exercises, with one bell being out on both strokes. In the next video, we'll look at different errors on different strokes and from different bells as well. I hope that's been helpful. Thank you for listening. Bye for now.